All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. We're excited to kick off our Modernizing Data Warehousing and Data Analytics webinar. My name is Rachel Lynch. I'm a marketing manager with DLT Solutions. And with me, I have some representatives from both Informatica and Tableau. We have Duncan Hall, who is a Department of Labor account manager with Informatica, Mike Snodgrass, who is a Department of Labor Solutions architect with Informatica, and then we also have Paul Rower, a DOL account manager with Tableau, and Joel Hutchison, who's also a Department of Labor Solutions architect with Tableau. Next, just to get us started, to give you guys a little bit of a preview of what you're going to be seeing this afternoon is just a brief agenda. We will have the welcome, which I'm doing right now. We are going to head into a challenges slide and then an Informatica overview, a live demonstration where you guys will not only be able to see how Informatica and Tableau operate on their own, but also how they seamlessly integrate. And then we'll wrap up with a brief Tableau overview and a Q&A. So to get us started, actually Duncan Hall is going to kick us off. So Duncan, take it away.
Thanks, Rachel. And thanks everybody for joining. As Rachel said, my name is Duncan Hall. I'm the account manager here with Informatica. And before I get into just a very quick overview of Informatica, I'll first go over why we're all here. So we're meeting today to go over some of the challenges organizations face with data warehouse modernization as well as data analytics. What you see here on this slide down below are sort of the challenges that both Informatica and Tableau have concluded what we feel the Department of Labor is facing today when it comes to these issues. We've done that through research and through phone conversations, and we know that these aren't all of the challenges, but we felt like these three sort of were at the epicenter of most challenges with data warehousing and analytics modernization. So we all know that data warehouses need to constantly evolve to keep up with rapidly changing business processes and technology. Well, what needs to happen is raw data needs to be transformed into clean, accurate, context and stakeholder-driven information that's easily accessible and delivered securely at any speed. And so, as I mentioned, these three challenges are what we felt the Department of Labor was facing most. The first being what sort of makes all of this so difficult. The ever-increasing volume, variety, and complexity of data. And I'll go into more of that here in a second on the next slide. The second one is, we know that reporting and analytics is only as good as the data. And so here, a challenge that we see labor facing is ensuring data integrity and governance across the enterprise, across all sources of data. And the goal of all of this and why we are looking to leverage and optimize the way that we look at data is so that leaders can make sound decisions. I mean, that's what we're here for, and that's why we're trying to get to the bottom of this. And so they can do that by ensuring, like I mentioned, data integrity and governance, but through powerful analytics and fast adoption at scale and flexibility and a governed platform, and we'll get into that. So that's sort of what we're here to discuss. Quickly, we will on to the next slide, Rachel, if you don't mind. I wanted to go over some trends that we see here in the industry. And so that velocity and variety of data that we were talking about, this is sort of what we see. This is what makes getting a handle on your data so challenging today. The amount of data, the new users and the new types of data, the transition into the cloud, and we're even seeing adoption today and certainly here in the future, more machine learning and AI. Now, so why are you here talking Informatica? For those of you who don't know, Informatica has been around since 1993, and we are the #1 enterprise cloud data management provider, whether that is in the cloud, on-premise, or in a hybrid environment. We started off sort of setting the standard for ETL, and since then have evolved and advanced, and through acquisitions and innovation, have created the #1 enterprise cloud data management platform. And so These are just some fun facts that you can look at about the company, sort of the investments we make in R&D and in our customer loyalty. But going on to the next slide, you'll see our platform. So the reason why I wanted to show everybody this platform was because what Mike, our solution consultant here, is going to show you in a second is really only a fraction of what Informatica does. And so you'll see here in the middle, where next to products, are 6 core capabilities. These are the 6 modules which make up the Intelligent Data Platform. So you'll see the first one is data integration, intelligent data integration. And so that, again, our foundation, ETL. We've also got a big data management module, cloud data management, data quality, MDM, and data security. And so the beauty of this platform is that it is the only fully integrated data management platform in the industry. The only ones who offer anything like this. What's great about a fully integrated platform that is built with modules is that we can scale as your requirements do. So many of our customers will start by leveraging maybe our integration technology, our data quality technology, and then scale from there. But the beauty, as we move on to the next slide, is that as you sort of pick and choose what capabilities of the platform meet your requirements, no matter what happens, you're getting best-in-class technology. So take it with a grain of salt, but for those of you who do consider and look into things like Gartner and Forrester reports, you'll see here where we stand in each 6 of our core competencies, right up at the very top right echelon. So on to the next one. We're all here to see the demos, and I don't want to spend too much time talking about our experience or use cases, but I wanted to point out some private sector businesses here who I felt and Mike felt had very similar challenges to the Department of Labor, and through their leveraging of the Informatica Platform have just completely transformed their operations. Quickly on to the next slide, you'll see a few of our government agency customers. And so again, without getting into too much detail, it's a very small example of the sort of organizations we work with and the impact that we've had in both private and public sector. Anybody who's interested in learning more about any of these use cases that I felt were very strongly tied to your goals, whether that's those private sector use cases or what we do in the government, feel free to contact me and we can chat after. I'm happy to set up a phone call or a webinar with you and have those discussions. But I want to now turn it over to Mike Snodgrass to talk to you about modernizing Department of Labor's data analytics platform.
Awesome, thanks, Duncan. My name is Mike Snodgrass. I'm a solution architect with Informatica. And I wanted to start off, before we get into our demonstration, I wanted to kind of show the solution that we're trying to show Department of Labor today. We're trying to address the challenges that Duncan outlined earlier in terms of the data analytics platform, data warehouse modernization. And we see a solution for the Department of Labor to consider to the data challenges that they have is something we call agile business intelligence and modern data integration. And it really all centers around what we call self-service analytics. And you're going to see the example through the demo in Informatica and the demo of Tableau of exactly what we mean by self-service analytics. But this solution provides a couple outcomes I think the Department of Labor is interested in. First of all, it provides a semantic layer for the existing data at the department. You're going to be able to see how all of the data that is at labor across the different organizational silos, you'll be able to have a semantic layer, a layer that gives you meaning to all those different data sets and all those different silos. So that's going to be very useful to the analyst who wants to analyze that data. You're going to need that semantic layer to kind of understand what's going on. And a fundamental piece of this solution is enterprise data management and ETL that enables that. And we're working together with Tableau, and we're both market leaders in complementary areas to solve the Department of Labor data challenges. We're the leader in the data integration space, as you can see on the right in the upper right-hand quadrant, and Tableau is the leader in data visualization and analytics. And the key here is that we're both market leaders, but we're working together for the same purpose. Now, the Informatica Platform really provides a data governance platform for the entire enterprise. And data governance is going to be the key to this self-service analytics solution that we're going to show. So by connecting all the different data silos together, by tying in all of the different metadata, showing how everything's related, you're going to get that semantic layer, and you're going to have a byproduct of this whole process is true, enterprise data governance for the whole department. So you'll see examples of this slide here in the demo. You're going to see smart suggestions when you're looking at data. You're going to see recommendations and 360-degree views of different data sources. The whole goal with data governance is to help you find that right set of data so that you can quickly get that into Tableau. And enterprise data governance is an important theme here to the solution. And what you're going to see as part of the demo here is how we address the challenges the Department of Labor has, which are very similar to the other challenges, the rest of Informatica's community has. Today we're going to demonstrate the capability to reduce the amount of time it takes to find the right set of data. And we kind of call this the 80-20 rule. We see a lot of our users are analysts. These are people that spend most of their time in Tableau, and they find that 80% of the time is actually spent searching and finding that right set of data, and 20% of the time is actually analyzing that. Well, we want to reverse that 80-20 rule. We want to allow the analyst to spend more time in Tableau and less time finding and searching for that right data. So the demo is going to highlight what you see at the bottom is how you can enable that self-service analytics, but also ensuring data and integrity and governance. And the demonstration that we're going to show you today is what we call the Informatica Enterprise Information Catalog. Think of that as a card catalog of all of the different DOL data sources in the entire agency. So here we've got unstructured data, we've got structured data, we've got information from mainframes, we've got information from databases, from ERP applications. It doesn't matter if the data is on-premise, in the cloud, if it's big data that exists in Hadoop, if it exists within ETL tools, if it's data that's used within BI tools. It's all pulled together here within the Enterprise Information Catalog. And here is that semantic layer that we're going to provide to show you that view of all the enterprise data. And from here, we'll see that once you use that Enterprise Information Catalog to discover all those trusted data sets, find the right data, we've got automatic integration with Tableau so that you can load that data into Tableau and go directly to the visualization and analytics platform. So at this point, we're going to do a demonstration here of Enterprise Information Catalog. It'll take a second for my screen to come over to the demo. And here you can see the login screen for the Enterprise Information Catalog. It's all browser-based, and I am logging into, think of this as, again, that card catalog of all my data assets. And what we've done is we have scanned all of the different data assets within the Department of Labor. And here you can see a Google-like search screen that is connected to all of the labor assets. So for example, in this demonstration, we've got 3,500 different data assets coming from 20 different resources. So you've got access to all that data. And in the demonstration here, again, I'm a Tableau user, I'm an analyst that wants to do something with the data. I know that I want to analyze our call center and see who's calling in, get some analytics around that, but I don't know where to get the right data. So as an analyst, I want to do self-service analytics, and I want to be able to find the right data sets. So I'm going to use the Enterprise Information Catalog, and it's Google-like search to start typing in a search for the word call. And here, just like Google, it does an autofill of different, sources of that call center data. So when I search on the call center data, here I can see that there's over 200 different results here across the agency of all the different data assets that contain the word call. Now, that's too many data assets for me to go through. I want the system to leverage the machine learning, the artificial intelligence here to help me quickly find the right set of data. So I know that I've got Oracle data in here. I've got relational data. I've got SAP ERP data. I've got information from my data lake. I've got unstructured data such as JSON data. I know that my call center data originally came from the mainframe. So I'm going to click on the application source as mainframe and, do a down select from all those different resources to see what I've got. So now this is a little bit better. I've got two data sets here, a little bit closer to finding the right information. So here it looks like I've got some call records here from some customers. Let me click on this this first record and see if this is something that might help me out. So the Enterprise Information Catalog has automatically scanned all of these different data sources and provided the results of that scan to me to look at as an analyst. So I can look at technical attributes. I can see here the number of rows and files and the formats. I can also see the columns within inside the data set. I can see the format of that. We do some automatic inferring of data domains. I know that one of the fields is customer ID. I can pull in some business terms. So we're trying to take this technical information and make it a little bit more user-friendly. As I scroll down here, I can see that someone else has written a description of this data set. And I'm going to click and see what this information says. And it says this is a large data set. Use with caution. Performance issues expected. So it seems to be the right set of data for my call center, but there's so much data that I'm afraid, will this choke my Tableau system? Is this really the right set of data? So I've got some information here that helps me kind of say, hey, I'm close to the right data set, but maybe not there. So now I'm going to use another feature called the lineage and impact. And this, again, is an example of that semantic layer that DOL has really requested as part of these types of platforms. And here I can see the lineage of that data set. I can see that this detail record information that's inside my data lake, if I look here to the left, I can see, well, where did this really come from? And it actually came from a table in Oracle, and it went into my data lake. And from here, it got loaded into our SAP Business Objects, official report. So now I've got the context of this data. I couldn't see what this data was related to in the past. I found a data set. Where is it used? I have no idea. So we're trying to leverage that Enterprise Information Catalog to give me that lineage. If I can see where that data is used, maybe I can see if this is the right set of data. So I'm pretty close here. It looks like this data is inside of a official report. That's pretty good. But we know there's too much data. So let me take a look at my scroll tab here for impact. And as I scroll, I can increase the lineage and look at more information about where this information has traveled to. And here I can see that the data originally came from the data lake. It went and took a couple hops before it landed into our final report. In fact, here is an example of an expanded lineage here. Again, the semantic layer. Give me some meaning here to this data. So here's another data set that might be something more useful for what I need. So let me click on that data set and take a deeper look. So again, here I see that lineage. I see exactly where this information came from, where it went to. I'm going to go back and look at the asset details here of this table. And here I can see, hey, I've got customer ID. I've got some information from the call center. I've got the total number of calls, how many minutes the calls were. It looks like this is some good information. And I'm going to scroll down to the business description that another analyst has put in. And this time I can see that someone has said this is the aggregated data set for all of the transactions for last year. There's no information about this being a huge data set, no performance issues. This looks pretty good. This might be the information that I want. I've got some official business terms here. Customer communication is associated with this data. So now I've got a little bit of a blend of business information and technical information. This is pretty good. So here I feel like I've got one of the right result sets. I've got information on the customer ID and what they called, but I don't really know anything else. So I'm going to use one last feature here, the Enterprise Information Catalog, and that's the relationships view to see other data sets that are related to this data set. And in the middle, I can see I'm talking about my aggregate data sets, and I can see the data domains and business terms that are associated to that. But I can also see other users. Here are other people at the Department of Labor that I can call that are using this data set. I could call Tim Smith and say, hey, is this the right data set? I've got customer ID, but I don't know the customer name. How do I get that? So there's some people I can call. But it's also identified some related tables to this data set. And here I can see that customer master and customer demographics are related to this data set. Well, customer master might be something useful that I need to show. Let me take a look at that data set. And this was an example of Enterprise Information Catalog helping me find that right data set. I couldn't do this on my own. I had to use the relationships that were inferred by the software. The machine learning figured out this relationship, and it helped guide me to find that right data set. And when I look at that customer master information, I say, wow, hey, I've got a lot more official data domains in here. I've got city, country, email, gender, IP address. Here's my customer information that I can use along with my aggregate call information. So I think these are really the two official data sets that I found. So from here, I'm going to take these two data sets and I'm going to automatically send them into Tableau. But I've accomplished what I needed to. I've accomplished using the Enterprise Information Catalog, its semantic view of the data to really find that data quickly. In fact, I can use these data sets here, and here's an example of an ETL process that takes the customer master and the aggregate table and loads that automatically into Tableau. So I can automate this whole process that I just manually found too. We've got all the technology underneath to kind of highlight that. So I found the right data set. I'm going to turn this over to Joel at Tableau to show you what do you do after you find the right data set. Bear with us, we're just switching presenters.
There we go. All right, so we've got what you're looking at here is Tableau server. So what happens with the handoff between Informatica and Tableau is that at the end of what Mike was showing us, he actually showed us an ETL process where that data, that call center data that we collected on the Informatica side, is actually passed over to Tableau in the form of a Tableau data extract. And that shows up as a published extract. So let's take a look within Tableau and see what that looks like. So I'm in Tableau server now. We have our various projects which contain the visualizations, but also up here we have our data sources towards the top. So I come into my data sources and it lists out all the different data sources, whether they be live connections to the underlying databases or online systems such as Salesforce. But I also have extracts in here as well. And if I scroll down, we see we have our call center data here. And this came in the form of an extract that was loaded up. You can see the date there, November 30th, so today. I can come in here and take an extra look at this from the Tableau side. On the details tab, we actually have this new feature in Tableau allowing us to certify the data. So Mike has gone through the prep work of actually finding this data. He's published this out to Tableau server in the form of an extract. We want to make sure that the rest of the users that come into Tableau can leverage this as a certified data source. They can actually come in and see Mike's comments. Maybe Mike would say something like, Mike has certified this for use. We're going to go ahead and say, let's certify this. And what this does is it gives us an indicator. If we come back into our data sources back here, we can actually see we now have this little certification icon. We can see the comments from the last person who certified it. And we have confidence that now when we're on the Tableau side, we're actually picking up the right form of data. Let's see what else we can do with this. So on the Tableau side, we're going to go ahead and click this. We're going to come into here and actually say we want to create a new workbook. So from Tableau server, similar to how you can operate in Tableau Desktop, we have a very similar interface where we can actually create visualizations right here from a web browser. So here we're looking at that call center data that's been prepped for us. We have all the same fields that were loaded up as part of that extract. And I can simply come in here and start working with them. Maybe I want to click on my states. Now I get a geographic view of all the different states where I have data. And I can drag out something like the number of calls onto my color palette. And if you're familiar with Tableau, what we're seeing here is the same type of interface for creating visualizations that you would expect if you were working in Tableau Desktop. So you have a very similar look and feel. We can quickly hover over states to see where the majority of our calls are coming in from California, from Texas. So this is great, but we want to create a dashboard that really reflects what this data has in it and draw out the insights. So if I come back here, let's take a look at what we have as far as workbooks. And we've put together a workbook for what this call center data looks like. So let's take a look at that real quick. So here we have a very polished view of that same data that came out, that was prepped for us on the Informatica side and then pushed over to Tableau in the form of an extract. And this really gives us a nice view, a clean view of our call volumes by month. So we can see up here at the top, we're looking at our call volumes. We have the days broken out by weekdays in blue, weekends in orange. We can see the spikes and valleys as we're looking through this month. If we scroll down a little bit, we can see, again, a geographic view. We can hover over the various cities, and we can actually see how many calls were coming in from each city. And then here on the right, we have a heat map where we can see the hour of the day, as well as which day of the week it was, and where the hot spots are as far as the number of calls at the intersection. Now, all of this is interactive when we're looking at it from a web browser, as we are here. We can also access this from a mobile device. We can go ahead and click on, for instance, Austin, and our visualizations are updated to reflect what's going on in Austin. You'll notice all the different visualizations change here. And if we scroll up to the top, we actually see click on that again. We'll click on Sacramento this time. We actually see that the number of calls there has reduced down to 15,658 for Sacramento, and we have the month of October. And we can also flip over here with this smart filter. We can take a look at what our data looks like for the month of November. So this is a great dashboard, and it does look very polished, but one of the benefits for Tableau is not just being able to create dashboards, but to do it in a very rapid and easy fashion. So a strength of Tableau's is being able to replicate something like this very quickly. And now that we have more time, thanks to finding this data in Informatica, we can actually spend more time in Tableau. So let's take a look at how we would do this within Tableau. So this is our Tableau Desktop. We have two products, Tableau Desktop, which is primarily used as an authoring tool. And then we have Tableau Server, which we just looked at, which is our server-based product, which allows you to enforce governance around your data. It allows you to collaborate, share those visualizations all through a browser or through a mobile device. So from desktop, on the left-hand side, we have all of our different data sources that we connect to. And in this case, we're actually going to connect to Tableau Server. If you remember, Mike has actually gone through the process of finding that data for us, that call center data. It came out of the mainframe. He went through the process of setting up that ETL to load it directly into Tableau Server in the form of a Tableau data extract. So now if I come here and I click on Tableau Server, you'll notice I get a view of the different data sources that exist on my server that I have access to. And I can see here, there's that call center data that was refreshed earlier today, and it's been certified. I can see the same certification note that we just put in a moment ago, and I know this is the data I want to work with. We can go ahead and hit update, and there's the data coming back into me from that extract. So now let's go through the process of actually creating some quick visualizations. So we're going to start off here on our first sheet, and we're going to create that call volume that we saw back on our dashboard. So we're going to grab our call date. We're going to drag this out to their column shelf. I'm going to specify multi-day. And then we're going to grab our same with the call date, and we're going to drag it again, but to our column sheet. And we're going to specify a continuous hour. All right, so we've got some data out here. Let's make sure we put a filter on here so we're not working with several different months. We'll drag a quick filter out here. We'll specify we only want to look at the month of October and hit apply. And let's clean up our captions here and headers. So we'll go ahead and remove the headers. And now let's grab the total number of our calls. and we're going to drag that onto our rows shelf. Now we're starting to look a little bit more like a visualization. We've got that area chart that we saw earlier. Let's clean this up a little bit more, and we'll grab our number of calls again, and we'll create, the first one will be a line chart, and the second one, area chart. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make a dual axis here. That gives us that nice little extra color on the top of our area chart. And we're going to go ahead and synchronize our axes real quick, and then we'll hide our headers to make this a little bit cleaner. All right. So if you remember back to the dashboard, we actually had different colors for our weekdays. So we have a flag out here called weekend flag. And let's just take a quick look at this, which is simply looking at which day of the week it is and specifying whether it should be a weekend or a weekday. So we can now drag that flag out here and place it on the color. And back that out and actually place it on the area. And now we have those weekends and weekdays actually called out as part of our visualization. So at this point, we're happy with this visualization. Let's move on to a map. So we'll come in here to the next sheet. And we have a blank sheet here. To start us off, we'll actually double click our state. And by doing so, it's going to drop in an individual dot here for each one of our states where we have data. We're going to switch this over real quick here to a map so we can actually see the map. You'll notice we have latitude up here at the top. So let's actually make this a dual axis similar to what we had on the last visualization. And by dragging latitude up there twice onto the row shelf, we now have two maps. We're going to actually expand on this. On the second axis, we're going to pull out our cities here. And then we're going to, again, mark this as dual axis. And then we have our cities on top of our map. To make this a little bit more interesting, again, we'll go back to our number of calls, and we'll drag that out to our color. And then we'll increase the size We're actually going to set that number of calls to actually be the size as well. And then we'll just set the color palette that we want here real quickly. All right, so that looks very similar to what we were looking at earlier. We've got those hot spots over here in Sacramento, Austin, down here in Miami, as well as up here in Washington, D.C. So this looks good. We're good with our map. Not too hard to put that together. So let's go on to the next visualization and look at the call volumes by the weekday. So for this one, again, we'll be working with our call date time. We're just going to drag that out to our filter shelf to start us off. And we're going to filter this down again to our months. We're going to put that on October. And we're going to grab our call date time again. And we're going to move this to our column shelf here. And we're going to, again, select our day call date time. Let's put our weekday name out here as well. Now let's grab our call date time one more time, and we're going to drop it here onto our row shelf. And we're going to specify our hours. And then we have that breakout, if you remember what it looked like earlier, of all of the different days as well as our hours. So we'll just format this up a little bit. So there's our headers there. Come in here and format these guys. Make sure we see AM and PM. All right. This is great, but we don't actually have our metrics on here. So let's come back and we'll grab our number of calls again. And we'll drag this out to our color shelf. And again, we'll come back in and we'll switch our color palette to match the one we're using. If you've noticed throughout the presentation, we do like our oranges, so we'll make sure we're incorporating oranges as much as possible. All right. So we've got 3 different visualizations under our belt. Hasn't been more than 5 minutes. Let's throw in our quick summary slide here, or summary information. So we'll grab first our measure names, and we're going to drag that to our column shelf. And we'll grab our measure names again to our filter shelf. And we only want, we want our call length and the number of calls. apply. We want to also filter back down to that single month we wanted to look at, which is just October. So again, we're dragging our call date time out there, filtering down to October. And then we're going to grab our measure names here and place this on text. All right. So make sure this is set to text. There we go. And then we'll quickly come in here and format these. So we'll set this, maybe this font can be a little bit bigger, call attention to it. And we'll format these ones as well. And I'll just set these to be maybe even a little bit bigger at 16. All right, so now we have a nice view of our summary data. The last step is simply to put this all together. So I've got, the icons that we saw earlier for Informatica and Tableau already put out here. And that's all I put together ahead of time. So now we're going to grab, we're going to start off with our call volumes. I'll drag that down here to the bottom. And then we get to see those. And let me clean up those headers. We don't want to see those. Get it a little bit neater. Next, we'll remove out this. We know which days are our weekdays and weekends. Save some real estate. We'll grab our map and we'll put that underneath our call volumes. And then we'll grab our calls by weekday. And again, we'll get rid of some of this extra information just to save some room. I'll go ahead and float this. Get rid of the title. All right, and then we'll bring out our summary information out here. I'm actually going to go ahead and float this information to save some real estate as well. And again, we'll go ahead and hide this title. So now we have a very similar view that we were looking at earlier with the dashboard. And I could probably clean it up a little bit more, but you guys get the point. The idea is it's very easy to create a dashboard similar to what we were looking at as a finished product. And the last step I probably want to do here is click this Use as Filter button. And then when we click on a state, we can actually see what's, or an individual city, we can actually see what's going on within that city. So very easy to turn on and make this an interactive dashboard. So we're happy with our dashboard. The last step here would be to publish this back up to Tableau server. We can go ahead and say publish the workbook. Let's say call center analysis, and that's great. And we'll go ahead and hit publish. Publishing is very quick and easy. As you can see here, it only takes a couple seconds. When it's done, it actually brings us back into Tableau server where we can see our finished product. And I want to do one more thing for you guys before we pass it on here. I want to come back to the data sources. And if you remember, we were only looking at October and November data, but it's very easy to come back in here and say refresh extracts. So I can click on that data center, that call center data, and say go ahead and do a full refresh. And this could be scheduled on the Informatica side and automatically pushed over to Tableau. Or as you saw, I have the ability right within here to actually say I want to refresh that extract as well. Now, if we come back in here and take a look at our dashboard, those dashboards which have already been created, back in here, let's take a look at this. The dashboards don't need to change in order to get the up-to-date data. So you'll notice, looks like the data is probably still loading, but within here, at this point, we only have October and November. But once the data is completely loaded in here, I think I'm loading up about 400,000 rows. We would see the updated data immediately within here. Let's go back to our data sources real quick while we're waiting for that. So it did say it kicked off and finished at 2:38, so we should be seeing the new data. Let's go back into here. Just take another look at it. And now we have December data. So it loaded up about 340,000 extra rows, and now we have the latest data. So once you've found that data in Informatica, you've pushed that extract over through an ETL process, made it available in Tableau, and certified it, it's very easy to then incrementally refresh that data as needed. So this kind of gives you the end-to-end picture of how you would work with both Informatica and Tableau. All right, I'm going to end it there.
All right, thank you, Joel. We just saw an example of Tableau's mission in action. We help people see and understand their data. We believe people are your strongest asset, and this drives the enterprise platform we deliver today. Tableau is a platform that people love, and these are just a few examples of customers who are changing their organizations by empowering their people with data. A little bit about why we do what we do. We believe in unleashing human ingenuity. We believe people are smart, creative, and want to have an impact. And Tableau has always been focused on one thing, and that's people. We believe that people know the data the best and are the ones that should be able to ask and answer questions about their data. And we empower people to unlock their ideas and contribute in ways they never thought possible. How we do that is we design products that put people at the center of the analytics experience. We amplify human intellect, we rely on the tenets of cognitive and visual best practices, and we release the curiosity and creative energy people already have. And what we do today is we make the enterprise standard for visual analytics platforms. It's easy to deploy, secure, manage, and scale. It empowers self-service for more impact to the business, for more people, and that means more value across the enterprise. And we deliver the speed and flexibility business users demand and the accuracy and security that IT needs. At Tableau, we have two products, as you just saw from Joel. We have Tableau Desktop, which is where you connect to data, explore and visualize data, create content, and publish to server. The second product we have is Tableau Server, and this is the visual self-service analytics platform. This is where you're going to collaborate with your peers, you're going to certify data sources, you're going to be able to web edit and iterate on visualizations and still have version control, and much more. And the one thing I want to point out here is there's no additional cost for things like data connections, mapping, or mobile. It's all these two SKUs that we're talking about in Tableau Desktop and Tableau Server. A little bit more about the Tableau platform: powerful analytics that drive better outcomes, fast adoption at scale, and for all skill sets, flexibility to leverage existing technology investments, and mission critical. It's a mission critical analytic platform. So really quickly, for powerful analytics that drive business value, advanced visual analytics. These are things we do better than anybody else. Speed to insight. For fast adoption at scale across skill sets, Tableau is for everybody. It cuts across IT and the lines of business. It's intuitive and easy to use, as you saw from Joel's presentation. We want you to leverage your existing technology investment. It's designed to fit, not dictate what you do or your strategy. And we want you to be able to extract more value from those existing investments you already have. A mission critical platform, the primary point here, I think, is that governance that doesn't restrict the business. Tableau's been a leader in the Magic Quadrant for 5 years in a row, and Gartner states Tableau is the gold standard for intuitive, interactive visual analytics and an established enterprise platform. Jeff Coughlin covers leadership and management at Forbes, and he wrote an article earlier this year on the top 10 technical skills with explosive growth. And I just wanted to point out again, Tableau is the one vendor on the list that really cuts across both IT and the lines of business. So most of the other tools on this list require you to have significant IT experience and know-how, but Tableau falls into both categories with IT and the business user. So wrapping up here, when you see a beautiful analytics dashboard, we ask that you ask 3 questions. 1, who built it? Did it take an army of consultants? How long did it take? It's often said that legacy BI projects take 3 years and $3 million. As you saw from Joel's presentation, that's not so with Tableau. And lastly, can you ask the next question? Can you iterate? Do you have self-service? Do you have agility and the ability to perform data discovery? And is it intuitive for the business user to be able to use it and get that value? And with that, we'll open it up to Q&A. Rachel.
So it looks like we do have a few questions that have come through. I'm going to start with the first one. It's actually a two-part question, so I'll read it out loud for everybody to hear, and then I will kind of turn to you guys as to who wants to take the first stab at answering it. The first question was actually about the Enterprise Information Catalog. They asked, did you have to actually copy all of the data in the agency into your solution to see how it is all connected? So let's start with that one, then I'll read the second part of it.
Sure, this is Mike. I can take that one. The Enterprise Information Catalog, you did not have to actually copy all of the data into the catalog. The Enterprise Information Catalog just pulls the metadata from all those data sources, so the data about the data. So it would scan all of those data sources and get information about each data set, but not actually copy all of the data itself. And it uses that metadata in the card catalog to help find your data, but you don't need to copy all the data. Good question.
And I think actually, Mike, in your explanation, you may have already answered the second part of it, which they said, how exactly does it know how the data sources are related? It sounds like you kind of already covered that.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
Perfect. And then we had one more, again, a two-part question. Can Informatica send the data directly to Tableau?
Yes. Yep.
And also, are the two products integrated?
So that's a good question. And in the demonstration we saw today, there's different product sets from within Informatica. The Enterprise Information Catalog, for example, is one of the products that's automatically integrated with Tableau. We can send that data set directly into the Tableau server, put it into the Tableau format on the desktop. But there's also other products within our data management suite that are integrated that perform the same types of functions. So they are integrated in the sense that they can share data back and forth.
Great. Well, I think that's it. Everybody, we will be sending out the slides to those of you who are on the call today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions, as you can see, we do have the contact information here for everybody who presented today. But again, you will receive this after the webinar. And thank you for joining us.